This is the bonus section podcast, episode number 14. The number one resource you always forget to use. Are you the type of person that knows you were meant for something greater in this lifetime and that somewhere inside of you there's just this bigger version trying to break free? But in spite of all your self-development, you just can't seem to find the way up. Well, hey, you're definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the bonus section and the host of this podcast. And I'm a person just like you, trying to learn how to live the most fulfilling life possible. Now, to help you take immediate action to do that and move in a better direction, we're going to take all the notes here from each episode. I'm going to post them for a short period of time over at freethinkingtools.com before we slide them over to our membership site. So freethinkingtools.com. We'll leave a couple of episodes worth of notes up there each time so that you have something to work on each and every week so you can improve your life and move in the direction of what you really want out of this life. And I want to be part of that with you. All right. The number one resource you always forget to use. What is it? Resourcefulness is your biggest unlimited asset. Resourcefulness. I know, so sexy, right? And everybody woke up today saying, I can't wait to be more resourceful in my life. But the truth is, it's an all-encompassing term that is really important to understand. And you just don't go to it because, we get so micro-focused on what's in front of us. And are we winning? Are we losing that micro battle? Do our dreams feel like they're just so impossible to get to? How in the world am I going to convince my parents, my friends, my family to support me? And, that's where this becomes a very lonely endeavor. Because oftentimes there's all this pressure on you to try to get there too soon and rush everything and nobody's supporting you. And if you don't pull it off, there's a deadline. No, there is not. The only deadline is the span of your life. And if you pursued your dream, whatever it might be, or dreams, or maybe it's, several things that come together to make you feel fulfilled, whatever it might be, however you might define it, you have plenty of time in the discussion of how long life is. Now, I don't know if that's plenty of time because it moves swiftly and we don't want to waste any of that time getting after what we want. But a lot of us, we start to have this bizarre thought process that we're underprivileged. And we just don't come from the right spot. And we don't have the right stuff to get there. Or we didn't get the best education. Or we had a parent or parents who went astray. Or worse, we're homeless as children. I mean, there's a lot of crazy, powerful stories out there. I watched one the other night and I couldn't believe, right in my own town where I live, I can't believe how many kids at school level don't have a meal unless school is on. It just boggles my mind. I feel so privileged to live the life I live, and then I hear this stuff and it only clarifies how blessed I am, and it makes me want to give back even more. Help other people find their way up from homelessness, from hunger, whatever it might be. So we have to put ourselves in perspective that I don't care what you don't have. I don't care what happened to you. This message is especially for you all that are at the bottom of the barrel or you feel that you're there. It's especially for you, even though it's for everybody. The one thing we are all born with is resourcefulness, okay? People give me a hard time. Sometimes I make it sound like a Z. Resourceful. Resourcefulness, he said. You all have it. Nobody can take that away. Watch. Trust me, if you are hungry and you have never learned how to live off the land, you're going to figure it out pretty quickly. And I'm talking in a positive way. I'm sure you could go steal somebody's food tomorrow morning. That's not what I'm talking about. You would figure it out if you had to. You'd learn how to dive in the water and catch a fish. You'd learn which plants were good living, right? All that type of thing. You'd figure it out because you would be forced up against it. And that's why I say all of you that are struggling at the bottom of the barrel, wondering how you're going to get your next meal, I want to really get inside your head and say, think. That's the whole idea here, where I post the free notes, freethinkingtools.com. Think your way through it. See, the way that you get in and tap into your resourcefulness is by thinking. It's all in there. These things, ideas and concepts and opportunities, they're all in the ether. Go read Napoleon Hill talk about this. Ideas are everywhere and they flow freely. Now, of course, you can choke off the free flowing of that resourceful idea coming into your head by hanging around with the wrong people, doing the wrong things. You're fostering what you think about by that environment too. So there are several things as I'm sitting here talking about it that are obvious. I mean, if you want to fan the fire of awakening your own resourcefulness, put yourself in and around the places you need to be. There are enough of them for free everywhere. There are free lectures. There are libraries. There are food kitchens if you're hungry. Whatever it is, start at the bottom where everything is free and untap what's inside of you to see you can survive. That's a real basic idea for all of us. We can survive through our own resourcefulness. I almost wish we could all be put in a position where we're dropped off in the woods and we have to survive. And there's a safety net, okay, like it's a game. Somebody's going to save us if we really freak out. But every one of us could survive if we would just be resourceful. Because it is this unbelievably powerful, unlimited asset. Now, of course, you could have the concept of just curling up under a rock and waiting till you passed. I get it. And all the while, you would have had this unbelievable opportunity to not only get out, but to begin to thrive. This concept of survival of the fittest is not about privilege. It is about whether or not we tap into this unlimited asset. So the idea in a more modern context versus being left in the woods alone is, what do you do? This is the next point here. What do you do when you're afraid? And you're in the world and you see people around you. Ask for help. Just humble yourself and ask for help. What a great resource to be able to say, wow, there are a lot of people around me. Why don't I just ask somebody for help? There are so many good people in this world. There are an unlimited number. Yes, there are bad people too. And so as you ask for help, you might get rejected. Somebody might blow you off. Somebody might try to con you. Somebody might sense your weakness. Your resourcefulness also has as part of it that intuition. You sense it when it's not right. When you've asked the wrong person, you get it. You can sense that they're ready to take advantage of you or they're blowing you off, whatever it is. You know it. So keep asking for help and using that resource of intuition. See what I'm saying? I mean, this is going to be unlimited. I'm going to have to be careful in this podcast here because I could go on and on and on with examples, but I won't. Ask for help and listen to the answers. And then let that answer run around in your head. You don't have to take all the answers when you ask for help as fact. In fact, we shouldn't. That's the key component of being a great resourceful person is critical thinking. So the first act is to tap into the world. Tap into the ideas by asking other people. And if somebody specifically has what you want, ask enough of them. You want to become a professional hockey player? Try to get in contact with as many people. And a lot of those celebrities that blow you off and they don't answer your question, keep going until one does and learn how to ask better. Pretty simple concept, right? I mean, you can see this applied in business all the time. As a business coach, in the context of real estate, we just learned how to ask better questions of our consumers, who are ultimately, they are our boss. And we wanted to be more resourceful and give them the help and guidance that they wanted so we could win more clients. You see what I'm saying? Whatever the context is, by asking, we get answers and then we think. And we let it run around in that massive library. That asset in the head begins to, all the wirings begin to come together. Oh my gosh, I think I intuit that this could be this, or I remember hearing that, and those things come together perfectly. See, now the brain starts to go to work because you're asking, and these different ideas running around in your head can begin to connect. And physically, it's a real thing. The synapses begin to fire together, and wirings begin to happen. It's why do you think people that beat on a craft for so long, they play the cello, the violin, whatever it is, they paint. All of a sudden, everybody says, oh, they're amazing. Yes, because they were using their resourcefulness along the way. whether they explicitly asked a lot of people for help or they watched and observed, and that was the way they asked for help, by looking at somebody and then mimicking and trying. All those networks are beginning to wire up. And you're finding these connections in your brain that are unique to your discovery. Let me slow that down there for a second. It's a really, really important point about resourcefulness, is that if you ask, or even just ask by observing, you don't open your mouth because you're timid, you're afraid, but you study somebody. You stalk them on the internet in a positive way, folks, right? You look at their body of work, you listen to their YouTube videos, and you begin to find the help that way. And then all of a sudden, something you heard on a podcast over here, you read on a blog over there, you remember the teacher saying it in the class over there. Zzz, all three come together, and there's a new resource of a new idea, and it's unique to you. Something magical begins to happen here. You all of a sudden trust your own onboard computer to do this again. So you take that one idea that was unique to you and say, but there's something else missing here. I don't know how to do this piece of it. So now you go back out to those methodologies. You ask people, you listen, you recall, boom, you have another piece of the puzzle. And slowly but surely you are creating your own unique footprint in this world, this thing. But the next point is, do you really, listening to this, believe that you can learn how to do anything? Do you really believe that? Or is this paradigm that you have that you are a limited resource person? I don't know what he's talking about. I come from this broken home and I was abused and this thing happened to me. Those are all very real things, by the way. They definitely happen to all of us. All of these painful things definitely happen, and they beat on your belief that you individually can learn how to do anything. I get it. I feel you. I empathize. I hear you. As a coach, I'm very much involved in all of this, and I know what it's like. But I'm challenging you to believe that you can, in fact, learn how to do anything. In fact, we have never lived in a greater time to find different modalities of learning. So your resourcefulness back when might have been you would have to travel miles on foot, by bike, in a car, on a train, on a plane to find the person, to try to get them to pay attention, only to get rejected, to come all the way home, and it was more painful. But now you can think into that little search bar. You can go and listen to videos, podcasts, read blogs, like I just said. It's just endless how quickly, in accelerated fashion, you can begin to learn how people do what it is that you want to do. There's so much sharing going on there. And again, it's the business model, so you have to be careful. Is it somebody that's just trying to take your money? They know just enough about what you're trying to learn to be dangerous. This is why I say there's always that beat when you're tapping into all these resources. By the way, well, I'll get to this in a second. Let me leave it for a second. But while you're tapping into these resources, I'm still telling you the filter is your own critical thinking. Trust yourself. Trust your own onboard intelligence. Stop saying it has anything to do with school. In fact, let me tell you something. School ended one day for me, and the learning just began. There was so much more resourceful digging and education. I do it all the time. Sitting here with you in these podcasts, I am trying to learn the next level. I am trying to assimilate information. I am trying to put it in a unique order that not only I can use it, but I can share it. It never stops. There is no barrier to entry to become a critical thinking learner. And you have your human intuition. You know how you know that? Can you sense danger? That's a survival mechanism. You see, these things are on board. They're already on board. It's just that you're forgetting to use them. That was the title of this podcast. The number one resource you're forgetting to use is this resourcefulness, that you have all this out there, okay? And yes, you can learn how to do anything. But that's why I say, if you focus on what you really want to know how to do desperately, and I mean find a love affair with some idea, some concept, something that you want so badly, nobody can stop you. And then you will begin to see that you can learn to do anything. But you got to put some work in. Don't be lazy. Being resourceful is not about being lazy. It's about going after that thing. Get up off the couch. Get up. I know you're tired. I know you're beaten down. I get it. But get up and start moving. That is tapping into this resource. Movement is resourcefulness. And that's this last point here I want to make. Getting all worked up about this one. I like this one a lot. This means a lot to me. Exercising resourcefulness is nothing more than the process of pursuing what you want. You see the point? See, the reason we don't tap into this number one resource is we get scared. We shrink back. We go down to this tiny little inside of us, that thing that wants to break out. I say it at the beginning of every podcast, right? You know there's a bigger version and you're trying to break free, but in spite of all this self-development, you can't find the way up. Stop shrinking. If you'll just start moving, as little as that movement feels to you today, it begins to accumulate. It's like the concept of compound interest. I know you say, I'm never going to get rich if I just save a little bit and invest it and then reinvest it and reinvest it. Yes, you will. Ask Warren Buffett about compound interest, right? It's the same way you're compounding your success over and over by these little movements in that upward direction towards that thing. Because as you move, you get a new perspective on the next step and the next step, and you turn a corner and there's a new perspective. And what's happening in that critical thinking in the brain is there are new wirings, and you are tapping into data that in your brain that you didn't need before. You're allowing stuff to come in because now you have a new set of friends, because you joined a new group, because you needed to learn a new thing. See what I'm saying? It's exciting. This is fun. It's life. This is what brings that life into you. And you feel fulfillment along the way when you're being resourceful because you're moving in a direction. It doesn't mean that you don't get your teeth knocked in and you get set back. Everybody snaps back, gets set back, gets beaten down. Life is tough. Just on those days, just lower the sails, relax. Go stare at the beautiful sky. Let the wind blow on you and chill out. It's okay, because you will find renewed energy to keep moving in the forward direction again. It's just the way that we're built. You can't stop us from moving forward. We are an amazingly resilient bunch. So let me go back over this, okay? The number one resource you always forget to use. The first point is resourcefulness is it. That's the one you forget to use. It's your biggest unlimited asset, by the way, unlimited. And what do you do when you're afraid and start being resourceful? You ask for help. You ask, or at least go observe and positively stalk a situation and listen, but ask for help. And then you have to ask yourself, do I really believe that I can learn to do anything? And I'm going to implore you, you can, so stop saying you can't, because we all can. We all can. We all come with that ability to learn anything that we want to. It's just a matter of the work after that. And that's the point of the last one. Exercising resourcefulness is nothing more than the process of pursuing what you want, movement in that direction. All right, let me summarize it in this way. Thanks for humoring me, by the way. I get all passionate about this. This is really my passion project. If you can't tell, I'm knocking into the microphone. I probably need a helmet when I do this. Here's the point. Too many of us believe that success is much easier for those born into the right bloodline or with more money and connections, when the truth is that everybody has an unlimited number of resources to help us that go untapped unless we unleash our own resourcefulness. All right, now remember, you can take immediate action to move in this better direction I keep talking about, because we take all the notes from each episode, and for a short couple of weeks, we leave them there at freethinkingtools.com before we move them over to what will be our membership site, okay? So we're going to give them away so that there's something for you to work on anytime you listen to this podcast. There'll be the last couple of episodes up there with the notes. Read it. Have a cup of coffee. Go there. Work on yourself. It's the number one thing to work on. I'm going to help you do that. Also, to stay in this groove with me, if you want to, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. You can find it on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen, and you won't miss out on any of these episodes and all the insights we share each time we upload. We also do our best to post it everywhere on social so that you can find us. So when you find us, especially on YouTube, keep watching over there for the bonus section. I'm going to do a lot more over there, as well as the Facebook page, but especially YouTube. Go looking for the bonus section and turn on those notifications, and we will keep you in the loop, especially some live broadcasts coming soon. We'd also appreciate if you'd share this content with people that are just like you. They're trying to get the help that they need to move themselves up and up. And, that's our mission, to become people for others. So if you could help us in that and become one of them, we'd appreciate it. But remember, I always part with the same advice. Nobody's coming for you. So go get to work on yourself. And I will see you to help you do that in the next episode.